Welcome. Welcome all. So to ground ourselves, we're going to give us some time to presence. Just to breathe. To fully arrive. To make the transition in between what we were doing before and are welcoming to this new space. So just breathe. Feel your body, your emotions, just witness your thoughts. Let's presence each other. Be fully in the room. Feel the architecture of the space, the presence of each other, the center. The gratitude for all the people and all things that made this day possible for us to be here today together. And gratitude towards yourself for giving the time, the energy, the attention, the preciousness of you, of who you are, to be here with us today. Now let's send this gratitude to the center, radiate it to the center with our breath. And let's offer our energy today for all beings and all systems, all patterns. That our work today might create a seed for something new. And welcome our space open.
Okay, yes, welcome. It's really beautiful to see so many bright, beautiful faces, and what a great space. Thank you for the organizers and space creators. It's really a blessing to be held in such a way with all this folks doing. It's really great. Thank you for being here. We're going to do some we'll introduce ourselves first. I'm Jeff Clearwater. I have been playing in the field of alternative economics for many years. My official titles, I'm on the Council of the Eco-Village Network of the Americas, one of the co-founders of the Eco-Village Network, which is part of the Global Eco-Village Network. And spent many years living in community, in intentional community, and traveled the world with the ticket of, as a solar designer, as a renewable energy whole systems energy designer, which was a great ticket and passport to study community economics. I also I lived at CIRI's community for many years as the Eco-Village director, so we really grounded the Eco-Village movement in the Northeast and the East. And now I have a website called visionarycommons.org, which I hope to develop. But, all right, log in. So yes, now I live in Ashland, Oregon, and where we're part of an intentional communities forming group. What else do I want to say? My passion comes from seeing that, you know, for 35 years we did solar, and it was this lovely medium because it was for the solution right from the start, right from the 70s. We were part of the original solar industry wave. And just being part of the solution, being part of interacting with people that were building and going for it really has given me a beautiful sense of the possibilities. But all along it was very, very clear to me. I couldn't make money at it years ago, but for 30 years I've been dreaming of post-capitalist society and what that would look like. And intentional communities are an amazing crucible to look at economics because they are a social experiment. And within that social experiment, it's been a very rich experience to drop in and see what's possible. So that's really where I'm coming from, is the village movement. But I also run 5 successful businesses as a solar contractor, been on the boards of 7 or 8 nonprofits. And I'm going back and forth with watching how many photos really can affect social change. And that's really, really one of my passions. That's me.
Gracias.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Ferananda. I come from Mexico. I'm part of, well, co-founder of Collective Intelligence Research Institute, CIRI. It's based in France. And one of our main studies in research and development is economy and post-monetary world and new currency systems. Because during our research we found out, like, how are we going to go into global collective intelligence if we're all competing for scarce resources to start with? So it doesn't match in regards to our capacities for collective intelligence. So we were looking very strongly up to that and participated in several projects like Open Money, with Michael Lincoln, creator of Let's on muted credit systems, and we've been developing softwares ever since. We feel ourselves, and the way we define ourselves is we're pioneers. So we see new lands and we go to those new lands and we go in our vessels, and then, you know, we see something, we come back, we say, hey, we're seeing these, we're looking at that. You know, other way that metaphors that we use is like the Wright brothers. You know, they were trying to build this plane, and everybody would tell them they're absolutely crazy, absolutely insane. We got plenty of those. And, you know, many planes that crashed, and people just taking up to that and saying, yeah, I told you, it wouldn't fly. And we would go like, doesn't matter, we'll build another one, you know, and another one until it flies. You know, once you get one plane, you then can have the airport and the embassies and all the infrastructure that goes around it. So we're pretty much that kind of pioneers, builders of tools. And we work in 2 things. Tools, we work in a project called the Metacurrency Project that you'll hear a lot about. So we work in, we call it a ladder that has 2 parts, and it has to be able to hold the rungs in the center. You really need these 2 things, which is tools and consciousness. So we work on both sides of the ladder. If you have the tools but the consciousness cannot yet embrace it, your tool is pretty much weak. It won't do anything. It's empty. But if you have the consciousness but yet not the tools, then we cannot go far enough to play, to be together. So that's where I'm coming from. And yeah. Attention?
Not quite yet. I just want to give a little context of this tour. We started in San Francisco about 2.5 weeks ago. We went to the Unmoney Convergence and the Future of Technology and Money Conference. We went to, and we've been visiting transition town groups and intentional communities along the way. We stopped at Emerald Earth Community, which is an intentional community in Mendocino County in California, and processed their economics for 3 days. And then went on to Willits and Arcata, two venues in Ashland, and Eugene last night. And it's just been a really rich, beautiful set of people every time. Our knowledge base has been evolving, our presentation is evolving, it's not a static thing. We really are seeking for interaction and connection. And we call it a co-creative tour because we really don't want it to be like one time we come do something and say goodbye. We really want to create relationship and build knowledge and cross-pollinate communities and their best practices and what they're doing. So please, please accept that context if you can. That this is not a one-time event for us. This is really an honor to come and meet your community so we can continue to work together.
And I just wanted to make a quick announcement too. So my name's Kent. I'm the regional coordinator of the Evolver Spore here. I'm just curious how many people are here to this place for the first time. So, and how many of those were at the Charles Eisenstein event? So, okay, so we have a lot of new faces in here. We have an email list. We're meeting monthly, and it's sort of died down a little bit since the event. But if you would like to be informed for future events that are happening, please do sign up to the email list here. Evolver, just to give a little bit of context of what Evolver is, it's a community that we've been going for about 3 years now here in Portland, and it's all about like thinking about new paradigm thinking, consciousness, and how to do personal and cultural evolution and development. So these ideas are certainly in line with that. So if you want to be informed of other events like this, please do sign up to the email list and keep it posted. And if you are also interested in helping organize, come talk to me because I'm probably going to have as much time for that now. So yeah, it's been kind of fluttering around. So if people are interested in helping organizing, please do contact me and keep it rolling. So yeah, with that, I'll hand it back over. So thanks.
Hooray, Evolver.
Yeah.
Really great work.
Thank
It's really,
you.
really wonderful. We've been following you on the web, and it's really, really beautiful. Context? Context.
Well, it's not new to us that our planet is giving birth, and that this emergence is taking incredible new variables. Variables have reached new dimensions, either in ecology devastation, terrorism, war, fear. But we're also seeing incredible variables and new dimensions in consciousness, in knowledge, in the ways we share, in the civic lives that run around, people doing and experimenting and shifting. So this transition, this birth is at the same time painful, since it's complex, as it is incredibly amazing. And whether we're conscious or not, whether we know it or not, we're all creating it with our hands, with our hearts, with our minds, with our actions. It's life's next step, and it's right here, and it's right now. And we're inviting you today because there's a whole new content that we have. 6 or 7 years of research only in collective intelligence and punch load on currencies, currency systems, and wealth cannot be brought up in 3 hours. So what we're inviting you is to stretch with us. It's like if we were going to tell you, hey guys, we're going to the top of this amazing mountain. And you're just, we really want to give you a 5,000 perspective of what's out there. We won't have time to look at the beautiful animal over there, and the incredible little plant, and the wonderful tree, We won't look at the detail that much, because we want to go into the top of that mountain so you can really see a big perspective of what is that we see that can provide the tools for this next economy. So it will be kind of tough hiking here. I see that also our space is small, and some people are not going to be that comfortable in their bodies. So, you need to stand up, if you need to move, if you need to stand back, if you need to stretch, just go ahead and do it. Okay? Don't try to keep yourself tight. So, the most you can, in your neighbor. It's perfectly fine. And we'll try to interact as much as we can with you. So we'll be going like hiking, and then we'll try to bring at the very end something that is more local flavor kind of thing. For interactive, for you to have an opportunity to ground the concepts. We won't get to detail, but we'll try to get the most of the embodiment possible.
Yeah. Yeah, just and to say that we're going to try to be as interactive and as juicy as possible with our bodies and movement, and we've got a lot of material that will be in somewhat of a download mode. So we'll definitely take breaks and move around, but do bear with us, because the last half hour we'll have you working in small groups and working on design charrette, basically. So let's work together to keep us all comfortable.
So,
Speaking, yeah, go ahead.
So this is our mountain.
There's your mountain.
Right? So just for us to keep track of where we are. And
I get lost all the time.
yeah, we want to get here, right? And we're starting here. So we'll be sensing where is that we are in that mountain as we go. Let's see if we can put a flag here at the end of this session.
And speaking of personal needs, I couldn't find my water bottle right before we came up here, and I thought she had it, she thought I had it, and then so if we could get some water for me at some point soon, that'd be great. Sorry to keep you getting up, Jessica. Hand it off to someone else back.
Oh, the water is flowing.
The water's flowing already. Here we go.
Resources are coming.
There you go, Jessica. Thank you.
There's a picture here to fill out.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Where's our host? Where's Taylor?
Kent is our host.
I'll go grab them.
Oh.
Yeah, why didn't Kate all do it? He knows it all already. Okay. So the good news is we've glimpsed the top of that mountain. Okay, in moments of clarity and in moments of wow, look at what is emerging from this research. We've kind of just starting to glimpse this world. It's just beautiful and amazing. Beautiful and amazing enough for us to drop our other previous careers and just go for this.
Where has this email that's not been?
Up this way.
Great. Thank you so much. And so I personally was, doing a solar contracting business, and I just dropped it because it's like, now we're starting to get to the place where the work is really starting to emerge in a way that's really beautiful. And so we've glimpsed the top of that mountain, and I want to try to bring you there on at least a spiritual, inspirational level, and then we'll go back and get the tools and stuff. So we might be at the bottom of the mountain looking up, but at least we can kind of meditate ourselves up there and kind of see what it is. Maybe the clouds, break enough to see, oh, that's what it looks like. And then we'll develop the tools and language, hopefully, to actually know how to hike up there. So this is probably a pretty advanced crowd in this, but I'll go for it, and I'll go for it. We really invite you. The first invitation is to reframe, is to drop, is to reconstruct, deconstruct your existing views of what economics is. Some of you may have been reading and connecting with new sacred economics, so I don't want to drop that. But even that, let us really look with beginner's mind at what economics is. And I really want to bring you to a place that I came to in my life, which is that if there's anything in your field that drops your aura when I say the word economics, get rid of it. If you think it's at all this cold, boring, esoteric subject, devoid of connection to real, visceral humanity, drop that. That's the lie. That's the big lie. That is the huge lie. And it is a huge lie. And we all created it together. We all maintain it together with our language, with our consciousness. So I really invite you to think about economics in a whole new way. Really get to beginner's mind with what it is. So can I just hear popcorn style? Who thinks, what's economics? What is it? First thing come to your mind. Popcorn it out. Anything?
Trading.
Trading, exchange.
Flow of energy.
Flow of energy.
Determination of value.
Determination of value.
Home place.
Home place. Sharing.
Sociology of numbers.
Sociology of numbers.
With numbers.
With numbers.
Distribution of resources.
Distribution of resources.
Yes.
Yeah.
Commoditizing energy.
Commoditizing energy.
Meeting
Global.
authentic needs.
Global meeting
Authentic needs.
authentic needs.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand. Any emotions? Get out of the mind for a sec. What do you think of when you? What do you feel when you economics? Purple.
Desired.
Desire.
Rational actor.
Oppression.
Yeah.
Injustice.
Rational actor.
Justice.
Greed.
Greed.
Too much.
Too much. Stress. Out of balance.
Or control.
Yes,
Scarcity.
Excess.
Scarcity. Excess.
Freedom.
Yeah. If we had time, we could do a 3-day workshop on grief around the present economic system. I'm sure you've probably all done a little reflection on that. And I encourage you to do that work if you haven't, because that's what powers my work. It is just the absolute violence of the system. How many here do NVC? Nonviolent communication? How about NVE? Nonviolent economics. That's where we're headed. Okay? So we haven't invented it yet. We're in the process of inventing it. We probably haven't done it. Yeah, we got, oh, great. Tell us how to do it. Okay. So what I try to do when I talk about economics is I really, if there's any words that I can use to get you out of the old paradigm of this cold, distracted subject, I do. So I start with psychedelic, juicy, visceral, connected, humane. I mean, if you really think about what economics is, on the real basic level, it's how we take care of each other. It's how we take care of each other in all our relations. All our relations. So, for me, it is the very basis of humanity, in a sense. Because basis in terms of systems, how we relate. It's the basic system of relations in humanity. I like to say also that economics is more politics than politics itself. Because they've got us thinking, the other lies that they've got us thinking politics is this other weird, cold subject devoid of connection. And those of us that have been working that, know that it's really about right from the intrapersonal all the way up to the global. And it's about good process and good communication, good decision making, and conflict resolution. But if you think about the term politics as the sharing of power, where that really hits the road, where that really comes around is in economics. Because every day, everything we buy, everything we do, our whole lives are framed day to day by what happens in the economic field. It just drives so much of 95% of what we do is in the frame of the economic system. So just want you to drop in with that for a second, that really economics is, another definition is it's what we decide to do together. It's really that basic. Okay. So I just want to weave a few more things so we can move on to the tools. It's also just this huge agreement field. I mean, it's really about agreements. And the thing about agreement fields, why I use this new age language agreement field, why not just agreements? Because we're trying to get down to the field, the underlying agreements that are subconscious and often unspoken, to the invisible architecture, as you'll hear more of. So, it's really an agreement field. It's really a set of agreement fields. The other way to look at economics is it's apparent. It's not apparent. It's like your parent. It's like how we raise ourselves. Like our systems are kind of like how we raise ourselves. They're like society's parents. Our political systems and our economic systems, our production systems, they're kind of like our parents in the sense that they are, a parent gives the constraints and the boundaries and the container and the love to raise his children. Well, that's what our economic systems and political systems should be doing and are doing. Okay? They are really parents. So thanks, Mom and Dad. You got us this far, but kind of an abusive household. Okay, so far it's not been really. There's a collective wound that's pretty deep from our present economic system. So that's pretty much all. I just really invite you to see economics as so basic to our interrelations and relations, and I invite you to make it the most psychedelic thing we can.
There's one concept that we really want to get through tonight, and that is that economics is part of our DNA as a social organism. And to get further into that thought, I want to ask, who has heard here about invisible architectures?
What did you say?
Invisible architecture.
Okay. So an example of that would be like the visible architecture. The visible architecture, right? If we sit together in a circle, it has a different outcome than if we would sit in a square, than if we would sit in rows with someone in the front, that if we were in a jail, that if we were in a garden, that if we were in a circus. All different, same group, different outcomes. So that's the effect that architecture has in social behaviors, in patterns that we create in society. Invisible architectures structure and shape our collective body, our social organism, in the same way that architecture shapes, the same way that genetics shape and structure our bodies. Yet, we're not trained to see them, and we don't have the social technologies to be able to see them and forward to engineer them. So who can give me an example of an invisible architecture? Somebody that creates, something that creates certain patterns and behaviors just because it exists.
Language.
Language is a
Bingo.
perfect one. Language is a perfect one. And we'll go into language. Another one, law. Yes. Myth, definitely.
Religions.
Religions,
Education system.
education system,
Relationship.
relationships, yes, certain forms, depends on what architecture.
Family matrix.
He had science over here.
Nuclear family could be an invisible architecture.
Science.
Science.
Geographical boundaries.
Social media.
And traditional media. We would say it would be a larger invisible architecture, right? Social media kind of decentralizes it is in a way. It frees us more than it constrains us, the way the traditional media does. It's an architecture that, thank you. Yeah.
Science and symbols.
Science and symbols. Turning into something is form of language.
Thinking system.
Banking system. And that will go into money.
Yeah.
Money.
Huge.
Money. It's a huge invisible architecture. And let's do an exercise just to embody that, to feel what kind of built-in architecture does money have. I want you to all do this. You're gonna get your two little fingers here. And you're gonna grab your mouth, and you're gonna close your mouth. The most you can. Don't breathe with your mouth.
With your nose.
With your nose, sorry. And try to breathe through your mouth. Sorry. Keep it going. Keep it going. Okay, so.
Isn't that really enjoyable?
Fun, huh? So what if somebody, when you were little, would tell you, hey, you know, air is scarce, so you need this little device to help you breathe. And all your life you thought so. So you never thought about, you know, really taking that device out, because all the time you thought the air was scarce. So we would have certain behaviors and patterns because of that. But certainly, air is not scarce, the same as wealth is not scarce. What is scarce is that tool that we use, which is money. So money is it. We're really getting wealth into a little stream. And we're allowing it to flow, not in abundance, because we have this little information tool, this tool that does not allow us to fully go into all the flows of wealth that we can tap into. And scarcity, and this is the part that touches design, is designed in the monetary system.
Built in.
It's built in the monetary system. Who here has played Monopoly? Who wins? I bet you win. Who wins? The one that has the most. So one person is with everything. Does he really win? I mean, is it fun? He cannot trade with anybody else. Game over, isn't it? Isn't it a finite game? So that game was created by a Quaker woman to prove that it didn't matter if we were all Dalai Lamas, you know, that kind of consciousness, if we would not change the rules, we would get into the same outcome. Because scarcity is built in the design. Change the rules, different outcome. Change the architecture, change the DNA, different outcome. So that we have to ground today, because we believe that we can all be architects of the future. We can all design this economic system together. And the tools are there, the knowledge is there, and just need the courage to step right into it and do it. And we're doing it. We're seeing incredible emerging projects around us, right? So we touch into another, the first invisible architecture that was named, that was language. Who has here the experience of speaking with someone and just saying, no, he's not really getting me. That was not what I tried to say. You know? Or having this incredible experience of the divine, and and wanting to express it to someone, and the experience that was so huge and immense and powerful, suddenly so little, and we totally disempower our experience because we want to articulate it. So language is a big, huge thing. If we want to start moving into sacred economics and gift economies, we have to think about language. So I'm going to give you some examples. Possession. What does it create in you? Or when someone tells you, I'm broke. I mean, I might have no money. That doesn't mean I'm broke. I might be a complete, beautiful self, nurtured by the divine, but I have to say, I'm broke. Or, my love, what are you going to do to make a living? Mm-hmm. Why? Why do I have to make a living if I'm already alive? Why do I have to go hunt to make a living? So, popcorn, some other language issues, some languages that you feel that are stuck, that are really not getting us, or are perpetuating old values.
In economics. Private property.
Educational loan.
Educational
loan. It's a load, not a loan.
Austerity measures.
Austerity measures.
Debt.
Debt.
Mortgage.
Measure of debt.
Exactly. Mortgage.
Entitlement program. Entitlements.
Entitlements.
Welfare.
Welfare, yes.
Taxes.
Credit.
Credit.
1%.
Oh, 1%.
Thank you.
Interest.
Capitalism.
Capitalism.
Opportunity cost.
Opportunity costs.
Free market.
Free market.
Business.
Time is money.
Yeah.
Time is money.
Globalism.
Globalism.
Another day, another dollar.
Competition.
Healthcare.
Healthcare.
Corporation.
Corporation. Pay.
Salary.
Minimum wage.
Minimum.
Minimum.
Stock market. Yeah.
Time is money.
What about the possessive adjective mine?
CEO compensations.
Right? And we take it all the way to our relationships. You're mine. Compensation.
Golden parachute.
I think, what do you do?
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah,
Not who
exactly.
are you, or what do you stand
Exactly.
for, who you be, what do you do?
What do you do?
That is exact, because it's not only about the language or certain words, but of grammars, whole new grammars. I mean, there's this crowd that are not even using the verb to be at all, and they're just changing all the structure altogether, right? I mean, think about what client creates in regards to social code with your client, not with someone. What kind of relationship? Just because you're saying, yes, you're my client.
Hate that word. Consumer.
Don't you love to be referred as a consumer? And in grammars, you know, when we said, I am French, I am Latin, he's homeless. We take the essence of the human being and we place it in one attribute. That's huge. So the point here is to start to think about and to take from this place the awareness, to be able to observe yourself. What words that you use and how surprised you'll be when you use them and change them.
Really want you to challenge yourself to change them. Pick one or two. Just notice. Just go through the next week thinking about what words you use around money and value and wealth and economics, and see if that's really what you want to say. You know, I really challenge you to start changing them. That's a huge shift.
And start observing what it creates in terms of behavior. So that's a powerful, very powerful tool. Because as you bring it in the field, I'll give you one that is in my language, in my culture, and it's really a desperate case. It says so much about Mexico. It's just amazing. Whenever, it doesn't matter in which social scale you are, you know, it's that big. We say, vale la pena. It's worth the pain. So, are you going to the movies tonight? That movie is excellent. It's worth the pain. And I hear it and hear it and hear it, and it just like hits me, you know. And it's like, what behavior are we creating with that? I mean, what really low ourselves into?
We have no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah.
We also have what's the damage?
Yeah, what's the damage?
Or I broke down and bought it.
Broke down and bought it.
I built up and bought it.
How much did that set you back?
How much did that set you back?
Wow.
Good.
Gain an arm and a leg.
Gained my arm and my leg. I got an arm and leg. I lost an arm and leg.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, huge. Okay.
And well, one last piece is, I mean, Bella here and La, they're working right in the core of language. And one thing I love about English language is its high level of composability. You can really compose any word by using nest or by using, you know, so things that could not be possible in other languages. I mean, I speak French, Italian, Spanish, and none of these languages, many things just fit. I cannot say them. And you guys have that pleasure. So just like take it.
This is their water bottle. Kinformation. Kinformation. Integrateful. No madness. Ecocentric.
Yeah, so let's create language. Let's create new culture, new means, new values. That's the invitation. So now, for the next piece, we all understood that money won't take us where we want to go. No? We all think money will take us where we want to go. Because now I'll drop 2 lines into my content, no? Okay, think about bees. Here's the invitation. Think about bees. These beautiful black and yellow butterflies, create pollen and honey. So if we think about what is the value in terms of money from bees, we would say, oh, well, there's a huge market value for honey. You know? We all agree it's huge. Honey is all over the world, and byproducts of that. It's immense, it's immense. But it would be missing the whole point. To think that bees are about making honey is missing the whole point about wealth, because they're responsible for 80% of the whole food system. So we have to think about all system levels of wealth. What we can measure, what quantity of honey they produce. But what about just the wealth that we can acknowledge that they create, because they go and pollinate and they create this immense intelligence and they go all over and they just think about that. And if we would only thinking that these are about producing honey is like thinking that money is about wealth or generating wealth. So it's totally missing the point. So right now, because I came with the word wealth, just step into your feelings of what is wealth. What is wealth?
One's health.
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 Satisfaction.
Satisfaction.
Joy.
Abundance.
Relationships.
Joy.
Relationships.
Being able to share.
Ability to share.
Options.
Freedom.
Security.
Security.
Not wanting.
Choices.
Choices. Thinking into you, yourself.
Community.
What is wealth for you? Community.
Enough.
Enough.
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity.
Love.
Peace. Love.
Thrival.
Idle.
Freedom of time.
Freedom of time.
That's
Power.
a huge wealth. Power.
Power.
Community.
Community.
Sense of purpose.
Sense
Beautiful
of
one.
purpose.
Yeah, meaning. Meaning.
Freedom of expression.
Freedom of expression.
Love dessert.
All kinds of freedom. Yeah. Education. So you see what beautiful words you all mentioned, and nobody said money. But money is wealth. It's just that it's not all wealth. It's a small part of what wealth is. But it really strikes me that in every group that we ask, money does not show up in the list. Yet, when we speak about someone that is rich, we say that person is wealthy.
Change that one. Don't say it anymore.
So what are we really referring to?
They have a lot of money.
They have a lot of money, but when we mention about wealth, it's not that. So there's some kind of, break in the language that we're using. So now we're gonna,
Sorry, I feel like you introduced it by saying like money is not like the only thing that is wealth, and then I feel like that's why we didn't say.
You're off the hook.
you were gonna say money.
But you're chewing.
Someone who has a lot of money can do a lot of the things that we just described. So it leads to those experiences and abilities.
It's a tool.
Can.
Yeah, it's a symbol.
No, a tool.
It's a symbol of the value, it's not the value itself. Right?
Well, it's a tool.
It's a tool, yeah, right. And somebody without money can also do many of the things that we mentioned.
And you can also struggle with a lot of the things that we mentioned.
Indeed.
Yeah, yet, like sense of purpose,
Ability to share.
kindness, love, community, relationships.
Yeah, but it's only because we're in the system that we're in that it's working that way.
Yeah, so let's become architects, change it. So I'm going to bring a little map for our journey here. And that is a map that we call the levels of wealth. And that helps us design many of the currency systems that we design. And the first one, which we know a lot about, is tradable wealth. I'm not sure you can see.
No.
Give me my black. So it's, well, it's not either. Tradable. I mean,
There's a
I
bigger
won't
one.
write that much, huh?
There's a big flat here on that work.
Tradable wealth. And let's say that we know a lot about tradable wealth. It's how it's the products and services that we exchange. It's the honey or the pollen that the bees produce. But what about health? Can we trade health? I mean, I can trade with your kidney. But that would be trading with your kidney, not your health. I would compromise your health, but I cannot take your health. But I could acknowledge your health. And I could acknowledge it just by saying, hey, how healthy you look. Your skin is incredible today. And as we go into the top of the mountain, you'll be really hiking fast and you're not, you know, like over breathing a lot. So we can really all see that you're truly super healthy. Great for you. What about education? I mean, someone that has certain levels of education can receive much more of this tradable wealth, right? Just because we value it in society. If you have a PhD, oh, he knows. So that's some kind of flow that we respect. We like that. You know, it's kind of a way that would make it visible. A PhD. It makes visible your education. If you went through as a self-instructed learner and had 10 years doing it and being in the field, let's say you have a PhD in, I don't know, medicine. You know, but what about if you were born as with a shaman and you start healing since you were 8 and you know all this language of the plants and you really know what plant is for what, but you don't have a way to prove it. So your value would be respected in your community, but once you go out of the community, you have to start over and build a reputation over there because you don't have that PhD degree, right? So we're not seeing that value until the reputation comes. So we know a lot about these, and one of the things that we're seeing emerging in our new next economy is what we call complementary currencies. So who knows here about complementary currencies? You know, currencies like time banks, mutual credit systems, less currencies, issued currencies. One of the main points that I want you to get with this, which is really central, is that we're decentralizing money. So it was first as centered, you know, issued by, and now with these complementary currencies, we're pretty much decentralizing them from central power and being, by design, bringing it back to the community. So I want to see hands to really see if you guys want me to go, let's see, 2 minutes more into tradable, to complementary currencies.
Can you explain what complementary currencies are?
Good, okay, to start with. Yeah. Okay, we could call them in a long way. We call them social currencies, other call them alternative currencies, other call them complementary currencies. And that's because we haven't found the right words.
They complement the value.
Alternative currencies we were using before, they would say, no, don't use that because banks are going to feel threatened. Use complementary currencies because they complement the economy, they complement the dollar. So they don't feel threatened. So it's a way of kind of going around with inventing new currency systems, but you know, like kind of staying mild in a way of announcing them. But where there, it says that is very important is to distinguish two different kinds of values. And this is also crucial to our conversation today. Currencies are about bringing the values that we want to see in society. Look what kind of values does money create? What kind of behaviors? Now, if we want to create other kind of values, Bernard Letteur, the creator of the euro, one of the creators of the euro, says that fiat money is based upon, sorry guys, masculine values. And they're not like relational, we've seen. But complementary currencies are based upon more feminine values. They're about reciprocity, they're about relationship, they're about community, they're about communion, they're about seeing each other, acknowledging each other. Okay? And they're not new, they existed long before when the matrifocal communities did exist. But when patriarchy was coming around, they kind of flushed to the toilet the complementary currencies because they were not issued by them, the banks, the controllers of power. And complementary currencies are not theirs, they're ours. That's one of the main distinctions. They're not designed to be accumulated. They're designed to flow, to move around. Okay? An example of these would be time banks. Who has had an experience or knows about time banks? Please do raise your hand so I have like a sense, true sense of the level of the group. Okay. So you don't have money, you have time, so you trade with time. So you pretty much have 24 hours every day, so you can trade your gifts with that. And the value that it embodies is fairness. Because they want to say, okay, your hour and my hour is worth the same, regardless of what kind of job that we're doing. So it's a kind of a very grassroots kind of currency, and it brings those kind of values into place. Did you guys know that frequent flyer miles are currency? Right? Well, in the Future of Money and Technology Summit, they just told us that there are 6 trillion frequent flyer miles circulating. That makes it one of the biggest currency systems on planet Earth. And it's a tradable currency. I bet many of you would accept frequent flyer miles for work, or a job, or something you do. Because it's tradable. In UK, you can even trade it for food, you can trade it for gas. Okay? So it's a big thing. Money fits here. It's for tradable wealth. Not the only kind of wealth.
Japanese currency? The Japanese people?
Yeah, Furiaki-pu, for example, that's a beautiful currency in Japan. And what Furiaki-pu does is that you get Furiaki-pu when you take care of elders, or when you take care of people that are sick. So it has done an immense work in the social field and the healthcare system.
You can pay your taxes with Furiaki.
Because you can pay your taxes with Furiaki-pu. And it's one of our most beautiful, clean examples of tradable currencies, where there are thousands.
Can you spell that out so I can do my homework on it? And I know that's
Furiai,
a lot to ask.
Furiai.
Furiai, Kipu with a K, I-Q-P-U. If I can give you, if you use pearl trees, are you familiar with pearl trees? I can give you my whole tree of research. Okay. Yeah, so that's tradable currencies. So what they create is new relationships, and that's what's happening, and that's what we care about, that you can create these kind of new relationships. And then we have the trashes would be more of a tradable. What we call measurable. So we cannot measure everything with money, right? Just like we cannot build a house with only a hammer, but that's pretty much what we want to do with money. All tangible and intangible value we want to measure with a tool that is not good for all wealth, because as we've seen, it's not all wealth. So we cannot bring it back to money. So measurable wealth is, like I said in the example, it's like health. I can measure your health. You know, we can see the hormone levels and how is the health of your cells and how good your sight is, and there's all new levels of measure. Let's think about one of the biggest measures, because measure is kind of biased. It kind of looks at some sort of values, and then it can leave out others. One of the biggest measures that we have is gross national product. It's huge, right? Because if we measure that as progress in our society, the behaviors they create are consumerism. So we have to consume because we're constantly producing, and then we're pretty much dead end. We're creating, and again, a finite game. So if we keep doing that as the measurement for our nations, we're totally endangering our species. Because we have much more wealth, the wealth of the commons. And some countries are starting to do that, like Bhutan. with their gross national happiness index, or, and they measure the happiness of people in Bhutan. So we need to come with certain number of measures. People in the green peace, environmental, they're creating new measures. They're trying to come with footprint measures, and so that people can have those tools to really sense what's their footprint to the planet, and that we can put planet Earth in the equation. So we need to get planet Earth in the equation. And some other things that are part of the measurable piece of wealth are things that we see a lot in social networks and the internet, like social capital, reputation, loyalty programs. Those are, in our language, metacurrency currencies as well. Because for us, a currency is a symbol that allows you to see a current, a flow. So I'll get a little further on that. Think about the education system. If I have a PhD degree, I have a token status. I'm a doctor. Money is also a token status. In other words, is helping us see a flow of education that has gone in your life. You've been sitting in a chair 5 years or doing certain exams. I mean, that's what they're hiding. Let's stay with me. So this is not the only flow of knowledge that is coming into your life, but that's what's being measured. But think about that in the future, and it's starting to happen now. You will go into internet sites, and specific internet sites that will enable for you to be able to get some badges, points, rewards that will make visible the kind of informal knowledge that is running around the networks, the kind of collaboration you do. I mean, it happens in gaming all the time. The guys that play World of Warcraft, they understand this perfectly. Second Life, they understand this because you create value in the system, you cooperate with others, and then you gain points, and you gain the super badge of, you're now the warrior master of the 3 worlds, and that creates a resonance in the system. Even big corporations go to what is called the guild leaders in World of Warcraft because they have been training in collective intelligence that, like, not many people train in collective intelligence. I mean, to get into some levels of World of Warcraft, you need about 60 hours of people collaborating with you so that you can get to the next level. Mm-hmm. And that means you have reputation with them, because otherwise they wouldn't create that with you. That is huge. In terms of collective intelligence, it's enormous. So pretty much they skip the bachelor's degrees and the PhDs, and they go directly into the guild leaders. Because they're seeing a flow. They're seeing a flow of knowledge that is not using the same currency, that is your degree. It's using your reputation as a guild leader. Is this landing?
Currencies. Rethink currencies does not mean money. Way bigger than money.
Way bigger than money. It's symbol systems. As well as money is a symbol of the value, not the value itself. It's not the house that we build, it's not the house, it's energy. It's an information system. Okay. And then we have the other, here are performance metrics as well. And then we have the big one here, what we call acknowledgeable wealth.
And the size of these circles correspond to the size of the field of wealth we see.
Mm-hmm. Here, if in a community you don't have acknowledgeable wealth, this is where gift economies are. When you're giving, you can acknowledge each other. If you don't acknowledge each other, the gifting is going to go away. It's beautiful. One of the things it creates when you give the gift is a trust. It is beautiful community. It's the reciprocity. It's just like acknowledging your value, what you meant for me. I have this example of a friend, he left Argentina when Argentina was crashing, and a friend of his, he said, hey, I need money to get out. And he gave him $1,000. So he got out, he went to Mexico, he made really good money, he came back, and he gave his friend his $1,000. And his friend didn't even remember that he had lent that money. And in that moment, my friend said, oh, it was not about the money. I should have given him something of the same value that I received when he gave me the money. Something really big. So he started to create an art piece for him. Okay. So acknowledgeable wealth, we create currencies for that in the transition, in the metacurrency. And acknowledgeable wealth runs in our society more as gifting, trust, all these deep values. Okay, that's one of the things that we constantly say to people in regards to consciousness. Deep value cannot be traded. You cannot trade with love, you cannot trade with trust, you cannot trade, they're not to be traded. Friendship, I'll give you my friend. It's just something that is, and with the currency systems that we have seen implemented, if there's no trust in one community, there's no way you're going to create this in another level. So this is where you have to work on first, on values. So what we're seeing a lot in the acknowledgeable world, think about one of the largest gift economies that's surrounding our planet right now. Who can give me an example of a global gift economy? Flow.
The non-profit industrial complex.
Amen.
Craigslist.
Couchsurfing.
Couchsurfing, absolutely. Wikipedia.
Facebook.
Things around in Facebook are relationships. But our likes are a currency, right? I can say your flow, I liked it or not like it. Well, no, I don't have that one, I just have that one.
Yelp?
Open, huh?
Yelp or Foursquare?
Yelp. Yeah. Open source economies. Think about open source. Think about all these people that have given their time to create whatever software you need to manage your complexity as an organization, and they created it for free. And these guys just go and create it, and they gain reputation, but they have to make visible that reputation because they don't live with air. So that means that the money that is coming to them for them to survive in this system has to come up with from other stream. It's not given to them. So it means that it's coming either from Microsoft or any other big corporation, or it's coming out of their inheritance, or it's coming out of their depletion as a human being. We cannot keep doing that. If we want to scale gift economies, we need ways for all of us to be able to see the whole, to see where the resources are needed so that we can be able to make flows that happen and those resources can be received. We need people from the open source economy to be able to produce something and gain reputation so then they can make better money or more money because it will be easier for them because everybody knows that they have invested, 200 hours in creation of some software that everybody loves. So we need to see that. And maybe, the open source community really trusts them. And we all see that, or it just stays in a small community? So we made a small test in Metacurrency.
Process, can I just check in?
Yes.
It's like bodies really need to move. Are you
Yes.
done, or do you want to take just a moment? Do you want to have? Do you want another few minutes and they'll hold on, or some movement? We don't want it to lose the energy, but if you just stand up, do some of this. Jump up and down, get some stretching. Massage your neighbor's shoulder.
Oh, you look like somebody else. You look like somebody who I think has a different name.
I also go by Kelly.
Energy work on their spine. Is that much more comfortable for you?
Oh, here we go. This is
Change your feel. Please don't leave.
Rua.
Get back down. We've only got a few more minutes of this.
There's a city in New Zealand, Rotorua.
More or less. Stretches. Shoulders. Okay. Let's sit back down and we'll bring you there shortly and we'll have another break shortly. Back. Okay. Thank you. Cans and flowers?
Well, we do several experiments in collecting in CIRI, where we work with some organizations. We let them think in their organizations about what is the true and beauty that they create. And we go in all the levels of the supply system, the supply chain, and interview people and let them think about what is the truth, what is the good, and what is the beautiful that they create in their work. And that's a beautiful tool because they do acknowledge some things, and sometimes they just go like, oh my God, I'm not really creating any true and beautiful, I'm out here. Because it's truly painful, because you want to create what is true, what is good, what is beautiful. It's essential values of all wisdom traditions. And we were creating things like, for example, flowers. So we did this experience where there were these programmers working in a software system that we created. And so we were looking for these people, and we said, okay, the exchange that we have for you is a certain percent in dollars, a certain percent in a mutual credit system currency that we call the we, and we'll give you as well some cans. Cans is a currency for measuring your capacities and skills in programming.
I can.
It names, I can do this, I can do that, so you name yourself in what is that you can do, and we'll give you cans according to what is that when you show up, what happens. And we'll also give you some flowers, and you can also give us some flowers back, just to see what is the experience that we had for working with each other. And it's beautiful because you are really acknowledging the several levels of wealth. And what happens is that people then start to show up in a completely different way. They really make their best because they want the most cans that they can get. And sometimes, it's not only us giving them cans, but the team can be giving them cans. And then their reputation just, in a moment, wow, it's seen. You can see who has the skills and this mastery, and it goes out in the network, not just in a small circle. And then we can start to see different levels. Like, for example, maybe you were not the greatest programmer, but you're the most fun to work with.
Flowers.
And we acknowledge that with flowers. And some people would love to work with you because working with the high-end super programmer sometimes is really tough. You cannot really co-create. He wants to go his own way. It's really painful, So you have all these very, cans. Stay with them. I'll go with the one that has 100 flowers. So you can have a different way of sensing what is the relationship, with whom you want to be in relationship with. Okay? And this integration of several currencies is what we call currency constellations, which is when currencies integrate each other so that they influence each other. For example, what if we create a currency here, right? And let's say, where are we? We're in Portland. So let's say we have the 40s. So we have the 40s, and we create them, right? And we say, okay, everybody will start 0. Our unit of measure is 140 equal $1. Yeah, everybody says, great. Okay, but what are we going to do when, what is our balance going to be? Well, nobody can go in minus 5,000 40s. I'm not sure you see it landing because I'm not sure if you guys have some idea of how this currency works. No? Currency, a little bit in currency design? I feel that's important.
Yeah, go for it. So the idea is you can embed values into a currency. Okay, got that part? That you can design a currency to embed and engender values. Okay. Not just wealth, but different kinds of values.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an example of a currency that's called LETS, or mutual credit systems. And I need another thing. Okay. So let's say that we have our 40s. This is our currency. Yeah, the 40s. Okay. And it's with a star. Or it has a symbol. That's a draw star. Okay. That's a symbol for a currency.
What did you say, 40s?
40s.
For Portland.
I'm a terrible namer.
Juicy. We call them Juicy and Ashley. That went over well. Juicy.
Don't trust me in naming things. I wouldn't have one single flower. Boring to go with me there. So let's say that we're here sitting in a circle, right? And I just tell somebody, okay, for this exercise, the way that you design this kind of currencies, you have to say, what unit of measure do we want? So many people just choose to say, okay, let's choose for this exercise 140. Okay, 140 is equal to $1. So we don't have to argue how many 40s a massage is worth. We just have it because we already know it with money. So it's only a unit of measure. Doesn't mean that we can trade 40s for money. Okay, so we have that. And so let's say that I'm here and I have a terrible pain in my neck, and I do, and I want to know here, I mean, who can give a massage to me? You can give me how many 40s?
25.
25? I should get a massage.
I'm not
every
licensed,
hour.
yeah.
A reputation currency.
I want 10 massages today. Wow, and since 40s are really abundant, then, you know, and you gave me such incredible massage, and it was like, why it's so scarce? Let's go abundant. I'll give you 100 please, you know? And so this is her, and she gave me a massage, and then she has plus 100, and I have minus 100, and we were both super happy, you know? But then I say like, hey guys, I have a bicycle to sell, and I sell it in 150 40s. Who wants my bicycle? You want my bicycle? Yay! So she gets my bicycle, and I sell it for 150 40s, right? So, but because I have 100 minus 100, then I got 50 40s in my account, plus 50. And she gave me also, I gave her the bicycle. She has plus 150. Okay? Yeah, sorry. I sold her my bicycle. Okay. So the transactions keep going on like this. You know, the monetary mass does not exist. It gets created in the moment that we begin with a transaction.
In other words, it's not backed by anything but the currents of the community, by the wealth and the actions of the community is the backing of the currency, not gold, not money.
So these mutual credit systems is also how time banks work. Okay? So they leverage pretty well. One of the things that we want to come across is that these currencies really need to become currency constellations. Because what we have observed happening in the field of currencies is that, for example, what if we have 40 massagists in our community?
We do.
We do. Massage is one of the most powerful currencies. And appealing, right? But if we have 40, and what if you are new and you don't really know, with whom to go? But if you would have embedded other currencies, like how delicious your massages are, the quality of the products that you use, the level of incredible experience I have with you, the commitment that you have, the time that you give me, things that I could see in the other spheres of wealth and value, and people can also see if I'm really good at receiving massages. Maybe just, I'm always complaining, I don't stop talking, and maybe you as a massagist choose not to give me a massage.
You could call them flowers, peaches, and strawberries. So you could go to a masseuse,
or hearts,
and look in there and say, "Wow, we got 3 flowers and 4 hearts." You can start to get more information, more embedded currency into the system.
Okay, but that's not happening now. We don't have systems that have currency constellations integrated. And what if we could also integrate the governance in the currencies? Governance currencies. How? One of the issues that we also seen is that you need a good, grounded governance system if you want to implement a currency. A powerful decision-making process. Who will decide if, Juanito just arrived to town and nobody knows him, but he wants to play with us in the currency, and who's going to decide how many, minus 40s Juanito is going to get? We can all decide by design that any new member that is not backed by any other member is going to get -1. He can go until minus 1,040s.
The limit on his debt.
We can have a limit on the, it's not a debt,
Sorry.
the balance.
Thank you. Bad language.
In his balance, right? He can go up all the way to minus 1,000, because remember, this is not scarce, this is abundant, this is about flow. So you're supposed to get 40s easy, and you're supposed to spend them easy. It's like breathing, so in, out, plus, minus. So it's like breath. So being in minus doesn't mean you're in debt with the community. It just means that in that moment you're receiving resources from the community, and it will take your time for you'll give resources to the community.
How is that balance kept track of?
Inside an information system.
Okay.
What's the point of keeping track?
Well,
Good question.
If there's a limit on minus 1,040, somehow it has to be kept track of.
It seems like by keeping track, you maintain a value, because that's one of the things with currency systems is you want to, it's to be a real clear reflection of agreed upon value within the community.
Right.
So then how do you explain the system in the rainbow gathering where it's all gift?
It exists for a couple of weeks.
It's not sustainable.
Or Burning Man, right?
Or Burning Man.
It's not that okay, let's get this together. Gifting is beautiful. The question is, how do we scale it? Now, what we have seen with some of the time banks is just what he said, quiet accounting. Because it's based on fairness. Once that the relationships are built, people drop the accounting. They stop accounting. Because what's the point of accounting with my neighbor? But what if it's not about my neighbor? I really wanted to trade programming skills with somebody that's in India. And I have to build relationship with that person. Maybe after I build relationship, I stop accounting with that person. Perfectly fine, but we're millions in this planet. And we want to see the flows. We want to see the flows of relationship. We want to see the flows of wealth. We want to see the flows of trade, because we want to have a sight of what is happening in the whole. Because if we're not doing that, we're operating blindly or in small collectives. In small collectives. I mean, we didn't need these kind of systems if we're living in a tribe, right? But when you want to expand, you need ways just to make them visible. So, but what about, I was saying about the governance, because that's a very important point. As, for example, Juanito, nobody knows him. He has no relationship with no one. We can program in our currency that once that Juanito has X number of trades with people in the community with X amount of flowers and reputation, he can get up to 2,000 40s. And we don't have to get together to see if Juanito has been doing really well, because we can see it right away in the system.
Like a credit score.
Like a score. Look at eBay. When you buy in eBay, you have a reputation currency. There's no way even eBay could be eBay if they wouldn't measure a reputation. How else? So they embedded reputation, they embedded trust in the currency. So the point here is that many currencies can come to life and disappear once that a behavior has changed. Other currencies will stay for us to be able to measure and see some flows of value, some flows of wealth. And they will stay no longer, either for acknowledging each other or for measuring certain things that we really want to see because we want to steer, right? And see what's working, what's not working, change the rules of the game so that we can keep playing, scale.
Got a question.
Question?
How does inflation play into a system like this?
This is one design, and the thing is that because here it self-regulates, the system self-regulates because I don't have to give any monetary flow outside of the market. It gets created in the moment we transact.
You don't have to match the money supply to the wealth supply.
Which is one of the big
You
problems.
just let it grow.
Which is one of the biggest problems of issued currencies, like Berkshires.
Ithaca dollars.
You know,
Berkshire.
because they're issued by a central community, they really need a high-level accountant, you know, somebody that can really keep track of how much currency are you going to place outside and how much is traded, because otherwise you'll be dealing with inflation. Yeah.
The other answer to that question is consciousness. And if you get people that want to game the system or don't have a system, oh, I'll give $1 million to you. You know, and you can mess up the system by just not being conscious of being a good player in the system. So
that's enough.
So that's definitely enough. There's a lot to think of here. We're going to try to pull it together for you and give you some ways to work with it. Let's take a 5 to 10 minute break. Go get your body taken care of in whatever way. Talk to your neighbors. Ask what each other's getting out of this. Connect. Take some space, whatever. Back in 10 minutes.